He is playing Terran in the blue trunks. His name is...
Root Massa.
Alright, let's see what we're going to get from these guys. So we may actually see... yeah, we're probably going to see a Gasless expand here from Root Massa, by the looks of it. And Kane is most likely going to go Hatchery first. It's Whirlwind. That's like the least uncommon thing ever.
Alright, I'm really struggling with the camera options right now, Totalbiscuit. I brought up an options menu, which I can remove, and now I can move my mouse around the map.
You should if you press X, that should get rid of it, I think.
Ah, yeah, just X. Alright.
There you go. Yeah, it takes a little bit of getting used to Game Heart. It's got a few different functions here. But yeah, we're going to see a command center first here from Massa. He's going to use it as part of the wall-off, so it's a little bit more of a conservative style rather than putting it directly on the low ground. But I like that. That's cool. And then he's going to follow that one up with a barracks. There's a couple of different styles that you can do this whole gasless command center first build. There's one way you just wait and you dump down 2 barracks directly afterwards, and often you put it on the low ground. But interestingly enough, Massa's actually taking gas on 17 after going CC first.
Yeah, that's a really quick gas. Potentially just to be very safe early on, probably just going to make only 1 Marine. And after that, just drop the factory as soon as possible. Trying to get some Hellions out on the map to at least get some map control. And of course, get some vision as well in case Kane would go for some Roachling aggression, which I doubt is going to be the case on a map like Whirlwind. I don't think he has to.
No, I don't think so. He's going to get the scout with his Overlord. He did not drone scout, which is actually fine for him. Doesn't really matter. He wouldn't have been able to apply any pressure really anyway with the... even though it's a CC first, it's a bit conservative.
I found your camera as well, so now I'm actually all set.
Fantastic. It's wonderful. Yeah, it takes a while to learn it. Like, he changed a bunch of hotkeys around, like, what did he do? Yeah. Thankfully, the secondary co-caster can actually have that menu up all the time and just check it. Me, not so much. Can't do that. And you're absolutely right, of course. He built a single Marine and then put his factory directly down there, and... that's a pretty potent wall-off that he's got. Now he's going to move his command center down to the low ground, and Kane is going to poke out. He's not going to be able to do anything. There's going to be a second Marine in the bunker, so there's no real chance of that doing anything, but he'll be able to confirm the presence of the command center. And aside from that, well, we're going to have to see what Kane decides to do. Is he still mining gas? No. So I don't expect to see any real pressure from him over the next couple of minutes.
No, I definitely think we're going to see it once in this, well, not maybe necessarily in this series, but if they would play again, which is of course possible with the group system that we're using, it's definitely likely that he's going to try once or maybe even twice to go for some Roach Bane, because he has really good transitions as well, and he has some really odd road timings, which can be also deadly, but not on a map like Whirlwind. I'm sure that he's also confident in his macro. He's just an overall super solid player. Late game, his transitions are good. He knows when he is able to be greedy. He also knows when it's time to play a little bit safer. So there's no need for him to take a lot of risk on a map like Whirlwind when he can just play that in a late macro game. And of course, in late game scenarios, if you have a lot of ultras here, if you have a lot of links, it is awesome because those units are so quick. And if you can cover this map in creep, it's going to be so hard for Terran to get good engagements.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that, actually. The Whirlwind just seems to lead into that Ultraling style, and more often than not, Terrans get the worst end of the deal there, because they're just simply not able to deal with it. And the more passive opening styles from the Terran player that often involve the triple CC, and in this case, you know, Massa throws the factory in there a little bit earlier than what you would usually see from this build. If you want to go like the greediest build ever, you won't throw that factory down until you put down your third CC, and then you get your gas, and it's crazy greedy. But I like the fact that there's a little bit of variance here, because Massa, I think, understands the notion that if you leave a Zerg player alone on this map for too long, he will be able to rush that hive and get that ultra up and get those double evolution chambers down, and at that point, he's just so hard to fight.
It's not just that, it's also just about a little bit of map control. There's a little bit of information. If you just go 3 command center before gas even, it's going to take so long before those Hellions are out on the map. By then, speed links might be on the map already, and you just have absolutely no idea what's behind. You're going to have to throw down additional bunkers, otherwise you're just playing way too greedy. So this makes way more sense, and this is just a much more legit opening overall, I'd say.
Absolutely agree. Looks like Massa was definitely taking the right call there. Nice little shot on that Queen. He actually has 6 Hellions. You know, that's enough to pressure that Queen. Yep. Probably won't be able to kill it without over-committing there, but it's nice. It picks off a Creep Tumor or 2. It tries to keep the Zerg player honest. Creep going rampant on this map, of course, is a big risk if you're going to play against the Ultralisk Link style, which we're most likely going to see.
couple of drones are a little bit exposed, but there are
Nice.
only three drones at this base right now, and we can see Kane already getting Spinecrawler in the right position. The Queens are still wiggling around as well. I love how Kane didn't even try to fight those 6 aliens. He's like, you know, I got 15 speedlings right now. If he overcommits, if I can trap them behind the mineral line, that's great. But it makes no sense for me to send in 15 speedlings to the middle of the map because he's just going to out-micro me. Really good call by Kane, and also of course good call by Masa not to overextend and not just sacrifice those Hellions, because that is the only bit of map control that he has right now.
That's very true. Interestingly enough, Masa actually does have a couple of... There we go. He actually had a couple of SCVs idle for about a minute or so at the front there, which was a kind of weird thing to do, but, you know, everyone makes those little mistakes. Masa continuing just to try and keep the creep spread back as much as possible, which is, of course, no easy task considering Queen range these days. He's going to try and get into the bases, and that's just not going to happen. He dips up and immediately sees the Spinecrawler and darts out before it even gets a chance to fire off, which is absolutely fantastic. In the meantime, Kane is going to play Mutiling Baneling for the time being, also getting himself the speed upgrade for Overlords, which is... I just love that upgrade! He's going to be careful. Oh, that would have been messy, but it's okay. He just stays at the edge of the creep and now has control of the watchtower, so things are looking okay for Masa right now.
Yeah, Kane's playstyle in general is a little bit similar to the ones that Suppy display does in WCS, where he just like relies on links with good upgrades, banelings, then gets some Mutalisk out on the map as well, and then just buys times and somehow gets a smooth transition into Ultra List. Might see him drop a couple of Infestors before. Ooh, I love what we're seeing on the right side of the map right now. Kane dropping a little bit of creep, just denying that base from Masa a little bit longer. I mean, all small bits help.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the wonderful thing about that Overlord speed, is that you can do that a lot easier. Uh-oh, Masa was not paying attention. That's a nice surround coming in there. He takes out 3 of the Hellions with bare minimal losses. Baneling speed is not done yet, but this is the kind of time where Kane's going to say, you know what, let's start to pressure. You know what's really interesting as well, and maybe I just like this for no apparent reason, but Masa's supply depot placement, you just actually have a Widow Mine in the middle of there. It was really weird. It's like, I haven't really seen anyone do that before, but that would actually be a nightmare to get through with Speedlings or Banelings. That would take a while.
I saw that as well. I thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah, it's a cute little SimCity there.
If we look at the state of the game so far, I really think that Kane is pretty pleased with how this went. I cannot imagine that he would have wished for anything better. He barely lost anything. He lost like 1 drone, lost a couple of speedlings, but that's about it. So he should know about the potential pushes that are coming up right now. There is a high amount of Marines on the map. There are 37 Marines. He's making 9 Mutalisks right now, but he's really going to get... he's going to need some additional Banelings. He only has 4 Banelings right now, and I'm not sure if that's going to be enough against like 37 Marines.
Yeah, I don't think so. This is going to be a really good push that denies a ton of creep. And Masa could just even leave at that point and then start to drop, and he would be in a wonderful spot. And that looks like exactly what he's going to do. He's also going to leave some Widow Mines behind, so any attempted pursuit is shut down. Attempted link run by coming in is intercepted by a second force of Marines, although it's actually going to get in, which it shouldn't have. Oh, there we go. He raised the deepest up, so at least it doesn't get into the main base, but he gets scouting information on the natural. A nice little burrow there as well, actually.
Yeah, surprised he's already revealing Burrow. It would have been nice as a surprise, perhaps, get a couple of Banelings in a good position later on. Certainly against this extreme high Marine count that we have from Masa. But I like what he did. He poked in, as you said, he denied a little bit of creep spread, and he also forced Kane to make 10, 12 additional Banelings. I think Banelings he would have preferred to make a little bit later, because right now he would have much rather just dump all that gas into Mutalisk. So good play from either side. Kane knows that he needed those Banelings, because hey, if Masa would commit, he could straight up die right there. So he's like, alright, I'm gonna get those Banelings and I'll be safe. And Masa is like, well, that's all I want to achieve anyways.
Couple of burrowed Baneling mines are avoided here as Masa pushes out. This is going to be a bit of Mutalisk harassment from the flank, and he's attempting to menace this third base, but he's not really in a position to do it. Once again, there's a big push coming in from Masa, looking to try and deny creep and take out a queen or two where he can. Puts the scan down, denies a little bit here and there, but not too much. And that single Marine is doing a fairly heroic act against that queen, but it's not going to be enough. In the meantime, there's that big Baneling run-by coming in, and Masa's got to split pretty quickly to deal with that. Takes a decent amount of economic damage.
And on the left side of the map, we had a couple of really big Baneling connections right now. Well, Kane is going to bring in the additional reinforcements. It seems like he's just going to crush Masa over here. Now, even though a lot of reinforcements coming in as well, God, that was so well done by Masa. He's just kind of forcing, Kane, just forcing Masa to be all over the place. Look at several different positions. The links are active in the main base as well. Wow, this is crazy.
Were those burrowed links from earlier?
Yes, yes.
Wow, that's actually cool as hell, and I'm really surprised that Masa didn't clean those up, because he waited for the perfect opportunity, used the burrowed links to bypass the supply depots when they went down. Oh no, there's so much going on right now. Everything is going crazy. Masa just lost a ton of SCVs on that third.
Yeah, he lost a lot of SCVs at the third base. He lost pretty much his entire army, which he used to push, and he took some damage in the main base as well. Kane just basically forcing his opponent to pay attention to 3-4 different spots on the map. I love how there was a Widow Mine near that third base, but he sent only 2 links because he spotted it with the Overseer and lost 2 links, and then he just like ran through with the rest, and then the Banelings blew through the supply depots, and then yeah, really sick play here by Kane. He's just all over the place, looks so solid, just like nothing to worry about. And he's just playing a really, really good straight-up game.
He's also staying on lair tech for a long time. This is really interesting because on this map we often see the Zerg player going to Ultralisk tech pretty quickly, but he's actually going to stick with Mutiling Baneling right now. He gets his hive here on 16 minutes 20. That's a pretty late hive, and he's even getting +2 air weapons, which, again, not a particularly common choice for a Zerg player.
He still has those 2 Burrowed Banelings outside of the Metro as well. He has a lot of units active on the north side of the map, and then he also has a lot of units, well, near the south side, I want to say, but it seems like he's going to retreat with those units. But still, he's just active with multiple groups around the map. This is really impressive play. You're going to love... I mean, this is not one guy having a 200 supply army on one hotkey and marching across the map.
No.
He's just setting little armies up all around the place, and this is so hard to play against as a Terran player.
Oh man, those depots are down again, and Kane is able to get through. He can't. Surely he's not going to get in the main. No, he's not. There we go. So he's going to end up getting trapped as a direct result. This group over to the right is what I'm interested in, because it's now rolling towards the third base here. There are no Widow Mines in place. Masa is able to move into position to try and deal with this, but that run-by has done damage, a lot of damage to the economy at the natural. The Banelings come in, and they're going to connect. It's a big one as well, and that's a lot of Banelings being invested in it, but Masa's economy is in shambles right now.
Wow. To only 27 SCVs remaining, that just shows how extremely well Kane has been playing in this game. During all this, he did go up to 4 bases as well. He never really overextended with his Mutalisk. He even kept his Mutalisk kind of defensively, just in case, like, hey, if I have to worry about a drop, I'll worry about it like that. This is just crazy. He killed an insane amount of workers. I'm not sure how many he killed throughout the entire game.
He has killed 48 workers. 48.
And that's mostly with run-bys. That's not even with Mutalisk. Well, Mutalisk are picking up another medevac on the north side of the map, or at least they will real soon. Really solid play by Kane, man.
This is, yeah, and +2 just kicks in there for those Mutalisks as well, so they're even more dangerous. He's barely lost any. He's got a good count of 15. Masa has a pretty large army, and that's kind of the only thing that Masa's got going for him right now. It's actually 120 army supplied at 88. The problem is Masa hasn't been able to do anything with it. So he's been constantly forced up the defensive. Ultralisks are coming out. Like, if Masa doesn't hit within the next minute or so, I don't see Masa living any longer than this, honestly.
The upgrades are fantastic for Kane as well. While all the Banelings are rolling in near the natural as well, he's going to blow up a lot of these depots. A lot of links running by as well. And while this army is going to be pulled out of position, he's going to fly in with the Mutalisk again. Just sick play.
This is nasty to watch, man. This is absolute brutality. Kane is just obliterating the economy of Masa. Every possible opportunity he gets. 60 workers killed this game so far. Masa's economy just barely exists. We've got the Mutalisks coming in to try and... They actually might kill the third here, but no, he doesn't want to commit. There we go. That's being healed up. But like, Masa just can't leave his side of the map. Every time he tries to drop, he gets shut down by mutas. He hasn't been able to push, and he hasn't been able to leverage that larger army. And now the army supply is not in his favor anymore. 200 supply army available for Kane.
Yeah, Kane is still maxed out. During all this, he made that smooth transition into Ultras. The upgrades are almost finished up. He's even researching Pathogen Glands now as well. The army of Masa is a little bit scary, but we might see a first real engagement over here.
Yeah, and let's see how it goes. The Baneling connections are looking pretty good, but again, you don't want to just run Ultras in there because that will not result all that well. Masa comes off pretty well in that engagement, but the problem is he lost supply and his opponent's back up to 200 again. Because
there's a little bit of a
working.
drop in the main base now as well, picking up the infestation pit. That's kind of a nice pick-off. That means that these infestors are going to spawn without the Pathogen Glands upgrade. That's just something.
Yeah, I mean, Masa's definitely very, very behind right now. He's going to make that army work for him. He's going to take out bases and do damage. Now he has to engage against, once again, a big force. The Ultras are flanked, actually, by Masa. Really nice move. Admittedly, of course, we are talking about efficiency versus non-efficiency, but that was fantastic engagement from Masa. Absolutely wonderful. He took out so much.
That was sick by Masa. Another fight that Kane really should have taken. He did take care of the drop meanwhile, but that was actually the best case scenario ever for Masa. The problem is his bio units are quite low on HP right now. Most of the medevacs are out. He's still barely mining anything. Like, he's earning 100 minerals a minute, and he's earning 900 gas, so he's kind of relying on a couple of mules. but he will be able to take out this fourth base. He's at least making more of a game out of it than it looked like 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, the problem is how long could he keep doing it? That was a really big blow to Kane's army. Like, Kane's actually not able to remax after that, and after losing that base as well, he's going to be struggling a little bit in terms of his economy. And Master's creep... Well, Master doesn't have to deal with too much creep spread either. It's only really gotten to the center of the map here, so... this is going to be interesting. The infestors are here. Fungals are ready to go. Pre-splitting comes in.
Good fungals down, a couple of these Marauders and Marines, couple of bio units trying to micro their ass off on the right side, but there are so many Lings and Banelings. That was really well done by Kane. Kane is like, you ain't going home, man.
No, this is not going to happen. And 158 supply to 78 tells a pretty ugly story here for Massa. And that was a really nice comeback, but it wasn't good enough. GG, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. The first game in this best of 3 series goes to Root Kane.
Yeah, that was extremely well played by Kane. Kind of the style that I expected from him. Just so solid. Like it looks like he's kind of playing greedy, but he's not, because there were 6 Hellions. And those 6 Hellions never really posed a real threat to him.
No.
And from that point on, he just macroed up. As soon as he got the Mutalisk out, I find it really interesting the way that he uses Mutalisk, because he barely ever flew in to either the natural or the main base to, you know, kill turrets or kill SCVs. Instead, he used Lings and Banelings to do that. And man, that was effective.
At the end of the day, why would you risk the Mutas if those Lings and Banelings are doing the job anyway, right?
Yep, and the Burrow play was a really questionable move by Massa to never reveal those Lings that were burrowed up on the ramp, because I can only imagine that he saw that. Unless he just looked away and he thought that all of his bio units killed off those remaining Lings, because they were trapped after all. But that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, I guess it's just something that you just miss. You know, it's such an insignificant thing, or at least it seems like it. I've never actually seen that done, honestly. Burrowing Lings on a ramp, then waiting until the depot opens, until the army leaves, and then running in. That's really smart, and it worked. That
kind of stuff works only if you like force your opponent to look at multiple positions on the map. I guess what happened is that Massa sent a couple of bio units. He's like, okay, right, you know what, that should clean up those Lings, because those Lings are trapped on the ramp. Meanwhile, I'm going to defend my third base right now, because there was still like a couple of Lings remaining there as well, working on Muse and stuff. So I guess he just looked away and thought those Lings were done, but they weren't. And that actually made his life even harder than it already was later on.
All right, we're going to go to a quick break. These guys are watching the replay right now, so we're going to give them a little bit of time to do that. We'll be right back with Game 2, ladies and gentlemen. What an explosive start to this series. Kane is currently up 1 game in this best-of-3 series. The team kill in the winner's bracket right here at SHOUTcraft Group C. Words, let's try them. We'll be right back, folks. Don't go anywhere. Sorry for the delay, folks. We're just waiting for the players to join the lobby. We had some casters had to restart StarCraft 2. We had a couple of lobby issues. We should be in the game momentarily. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Sorry about the brief delay. We not so much having lobby issues today, we're actually having players crashing, and I had a lockup, which was really weird. Battle.net, I don't know what it is about HOTS, man. I think it's got some strange eccentricities that are going on with it.
Yeah, we're messing around with different stuff as well. Might have something to do with it too.
Yeah, most likely. We're going to game 2 here. It's going to be on Acheron Wastes between these two. Now, Kane showed a really dominant performance there, and something that we didn't really point out during the cast is how late Stim was for Massa.
Yeah, I noticed that as well in the root chat. All the boys were like, "Oh my god," or at least Massa joined in the chat, and he's like, "Man, I forgot Stim. My macro was so good." So I can only assume that we're referring to the first timing with all those Marines when he had a couple of Winter Mines in the mix as well, and that would have been pretty scary, but. I don't think he would have been able to straight up kill Kane over there. Kane had a lot of links on the map. He was already morphing quite a few into Banelings. And if there are like 20, 25 links, 10 Mutalisk, and 12 Banelings, I don't think that push would have killed him. But yeah, it would have obviously made his life a little bit rougher.
Yeah, and that was the big thing, wasn't it? So we are about ready to go into game 2, I think. So Acheron Wastes, I just love this map. I see so many great games played on Acheron Wastes. And it's almost like I just want to watch every game of StarCraft played here. Oh,
no, you don't, trust me. That's going to be like Daybreak, man. You remember when Daybreak came out and we were all like, oh my god, this map is fantastic. And then at a certain moment, it's like, another ZVZ on Daybreak, please.
Yeah, no, just no. Not as bad as Newkirk was, though, good lord. You want an hour-long game? Just give him Newkirk. Jeez, I don't know what was going on with that, but hey. Alright, folks, we are here in the map on Acheron Wastes, and this guy's currently at 1 game, the best of 3 series, looking pretty dominant. Let's see if he can finish it out with a 2-0 to go on to the winner's final. He is...
Root Kane!
Some people say don't believe the hype, but so far, I'm believing that hype, man. No question. And his opponent, down to the southeast position... Not so much of a hype monster as a silent partner in Root. Definitely not one of those players that you see in every tournament, but considered a secret weapon. In the blue trunks, playing Terran to the southeast, he is...
Root Massa!
Oh, I don't expect to see CC first here from Massa this time around, but you never know.
It is possible. It's definitely one of the options, but after that, you definitely want to get a couple of units out quick on the map, because if there's one map these days where Roach Bane is pretty popular, it has to be Acheron Wastes. But that's of course something that Massa knows as well, so I don't think he's going to play super greedy and will make sure that he's safe against that. So I'm kind of curious to see what Kane is going to show us here. He could very well just play a very similar style to what we see on Whirlwind, but I feel on this map it would be a little bit harder to pull it off in a certain way, just because it's going to be easier for Massa later on to be effective with drops as well.
Well, we are seeing a CC first from Massa. He's going to go with what looks to be the same build. We'll see if he takes that gas on 16 this time, using the CC as part of the wall-off initially. And, you know, I think it seemed like Massa's build was pretty cool, but it just didn't quite do what it needed to do. I think there were a few missed opportunities. That Queen was a good example. I think he probably could have committed and killed that Queen and got out of there without losing a Hellion. That would have made a lot of difference to the creep spread, for instance. But there were a couple of opportunities that he just didn't quite turn into anything. And as you pointed out earlier, that lack of stim was such a huge thing.
Yeah, that definitely was, and you know, you can always look at it like, he might be able to kill a couple of things with these Hellions, but I can also understand that he's super cautious, because as Terran you just cannot afford to lose those Hellions, because after that you're just going to be so extremely blind, you have no map vision whatsoever, and of course we have no fog of war, so we can see exactly what he can and can't kill, but he doesn't see what we see, so if he would just overextend, and if Kane would have made like an additional batch of links, or like a big group of links, and he would have had like 22 links instead of 15, and then he runs in and then surrounds those Hellions. You know, and that's already a different story. And Massa then ending up losing those Hellions would have hurt him much more than he would potentially gain out of killing like 1 or 2 drones or a queen. So I can understand that he was a little bit cautious. I don't think that was the biggest deal in the game.
No, I don't think so. A couple of small contributing factors that...
Attacking his own spawning pool.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, that was a bit
split
interesting. All right. Fair enough. Actually, 6 slings on the map here for Kane already. That's a reasonably high amount. He's going to be able to just have a look around, see what he can see, gain map control for a while until the Hellions come out.
The biggest difference between Ekelon Waste and Whirlwind is that as soon as he starts moving out here with a group of Marines, hey, before you know it, you're knocking on the natural of your opponent.
Yeah.
So it's a lot scarier for Kane. Kane might be forced to make a lot more units during the mid phase of this game, because in the last game he went completely uncontested, up to 62 drones on 3 bases and had like 5 queens on the map. And hey, it's so awesome playing Zerg from that position, man, but it's always hard to get there. And on a map like this, it's a lot harder to get in a situation like that than it is on Whirlwind.
Yeah, this map was, of course, Massa's choice. It is loser picks, and it's a 5-map pool with 2 vetoes. So if this goes to the 3rd game, it will be whatever was left over, which often results in some really weird games, because it's kind of the map that no one really wanted to play, but they don't really have a choice in the matter.
Yeah, it's like, I don't hate it enough to veto it, but I also don't love it enough to pick it, so I'm just kind of going to leave it there. And often there are a lot of mind games as well, like sometimes people don't like a certain map, but they expect their opponent to remove it, so you're like, okay, I think he's going to remove it, and then suddenly they don't remove it, and you're like, oh, shoot, now I'm stuck with this map.
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it? Absolutely not. Massa now just moving those barracks over there and continuing to get his economy and his production in order.
I like what we're seeing out of here from Massa. He's getting a really quick stim. He's also getting a really early Marauder. But I kind of wonder if he wants to get more than just 1 Marauder. Like, a lot of Terrans like to get 1 Marauder just for safety precautions. Certainly as a player like Kane, who loves to go for quick or kind of like odd roach timings. No, we see a 2nd Marauder in the mix now as well.
All right.
Marauder Hellion with a couple of Marines as backup. Man, that's a really interesting push.
Yeah, that works. That's a bit of a classic there. I think that, like, Marauder Hellion was something that maybe would have had its day if Broodlord Infestor wasn't as dominant as it was at the time back in Wings of Liberty. It was